What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another North Shore 9 postgame show powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Jim. With me is Tyler. Tyler, frustrating loss tonight. Pirates blew a big lead. Couldn't take care of the sweep down in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, if you told us coming into this series that the Pirates would take 2 out of 3 out of Houston, I think we'd all be thrilled. A little bit less than thrilled now at the way it turned out, because it very easily could have been a sweep, and we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. A lot of new faces in today's game too. First time we saw today's starting pitcher, which was Jake Woodford. First time seeing Jalen Beeks. First time seeing Brian De La Cruz in a Pirates uniform. So yeah, a lot of Pirates debuts today. So we'll get around to all of that. We'll get around to the game. Again, the Pirates jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and they lose this one 5-4. It's a frustrating one. We told you all the wins are going to be nice. The losses are going to be very, very frustrating, because right now every single game counts so much. And so this is a game that you should have won. Sloppy play, sloppy defense, and it cost the Pirates the game. So again, we'll get into all of that, and we'll get into all your comments too. I know the chat's a little lively tonight. They're ready to get off some steam. But Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline is every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your deposit up to $250. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, let's start off with the starting pitcher. Let's get him out of the way, and then we'll get to all the other stuff that happened in the game. But let's give Jake Woodford some credit here tonight. He's a guy, when the Pirates brought him in, it was like, okay, cool. He can just, be a body in Indianapolis, right? He went into today. He had 8 innings pitched on the year with a 10.80 ERA and 2 starts. He was 0-2 for his career. Basically a replacement level pitcher, 4.57 ERA over 193 innings. He was granted free agency back in June from the worst team in baseball, the Chicago White Sox. They didn't even want him. The Pirates signed him to a minor league deal. He's been pitching pretty okay in Indianapolis. And because of Martin Perez being traded, Perez was supposed to start tonight, so it left an opening, and Jake Woodford gets the spot start. I would imagine this is probably going to be the only time we see him. He's probably off the roster after today, because now the rotation's set. But he goes 5 innings today, gives up just 2 hits, walks 3. We'll talk about the 3 runs, but all unearned runs, doesn't give up an earned run. 71 pitches. He was efficient. He was throwing strikes. He was generating weak contact. You can't ask for more from a AAA spot starter, minor league free agent signing while you're in a playoff race on July 31st than what Jake Woodford delivered tonight.
Yeah, you have to applaud him. Like, everything he did today, he did everything and more. I certainly didn't expect anything like that, especially results-wise. They should have won the game, plain and simple. They should have won the game. He pitched more than well enough to win the game. He actually pitched really well. I'm with you though. I don't know that I need to see much more out of him as a starter in Pittsburgh, but you have to applaud the performance by him today. I mean, he gave you everything he could, and you could tell because his uniform was darn near dark gray by the end of it.
Yeah, that's these gray uniforms. The sweat really shows on these gray jerseys this year. So good job, Fanatics, on that one. But no, I again, I thought he looked great. Like I said, results wise, he was, the sinker was working, it was moving. His sweeper, we talked about it during the game. The sweeper was slow, but it had quite a bit of movement on it. It averaged 15 inches of break on that thing. It was dancing. It was generating a couple swings. I mean, the 2 swings and misses that he got were on his sweeper. But yeah, as far as contact goes, average exit velocity off of Jake Woodford tonight, 88.1. And like, you're going to take that all day. Compare that to Framber Valdez, who was giving up much harder hit balls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he outdueled Framber Valdez, and that's one of the better left-handed pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, you said it there. He did a really good job of missing barrels today. There wasn't much hard contact, and really, I think the only hard contact against it was probably the play that Michael A. Taylor made in center. That was probably the hardest hit ball he gave up. He pitched really, really well today. It's a shame that it turned out the way it did.
Yeah, it really did. So let's get into the actual game. I guess, if you want to say, the Pirates jumped out on Valdez. It was really, really refreshing to see. They went down, quietly in the first inning, strikeout, ground out. But then in the second, new Pittsburgh Pirate Brian De La Cruz leads off the inning with a single. So he starts off his Pirates career with a base hit. And then Joey Bart crushes a ball to left field, 2-run homer, 407 feet, his 7th homer of the year. That puts the Pirates up 2-0. Then you've got Brian Hayes getting in on the action with a base hit. Oneil Cruz struck out, which we'll get to Cruz. We'll make sure we talk a little bit about Cruz tonight. Not his prettiest performance, but Cruz wants to get out of Houston. But we'll save that for later in the show. But then Jared Triolo with a big double, Andrew McCutchen with an RBI single to score Triolo. The Pirates bats were on fire there in the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, including 2 extra base hits. And you were like, they're doing this off of Framber Valdez. Like, this is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, the bats were live there for an inning. And unfortunately, it all kind of fell apart after that. And really, the bats were alive because our guy Andy Haynes, who we're a big fan of, got tossed after 3 pitches in the ball game. But in general, you could just feel, even with that Andy Haynes stuff, you could feel the environment surrounding this team right now. There is some intensity with them. They understand that these are very important games, which sometimes to their detriment does hurt them, because I feel like they're maybe being a little too aggressive or not aggressive enough, or just trying to do too much, which we'll get to that too. But 4 runs off of Valdez, I don't know if you can really ask for much more than that. You get 4 runs off of Valdez, and your starting pitcher doesn't give up an earned run. You expect to win that game every day.
100%. 100%. We've been basically asking this offense to score 4 runs. Like, that's what we want to do, right? Score 4 runs. And they did it tonight. Now, they did it all in 1 inning, and then they put up 8 other zeros. So that's another topic as well that we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, you feel pretty good about this one after the top of the second. You're up 4-0. However, you're like, all right, this is the Astros. This is a really good lineup. We're at Minute Maid Park. This park is built for this Astros team to just roar back and storm back and have comebacks on you. But again, Woodford, no earned runs. However, the Astros do get a run back in the second. And a lot of it had to do with Jeremy Pena leads off the inning with a grounder to Oneil Cruz. Cruz rushes the throw, and it's nowhere near first base. It's about 10 feet to the right of Connor Joe. Pena's safe. He gets to second on the error as well. The first of 3 Oneil Cruz errors. He later scored on a wild pitch. So it's like the Astros didn't even get a hit that inning. I don't even think they got a run out of the infield. No, they didn't. Didn't even get a run out of the infield, and they get one of those runs back. Ends up being a pretty big run.
Yeah. Did they roll it a wild pitch, I'm assuming?
Yeah, wild pitch.
Yeah. And I mean, Pena read it really well, but still, they handed them a run in that inning, and it started with Oneil Cruz. I mean, he picked a really bad day to play the worst defensive game I've ever seen him play.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, Oneil Cruz lost this game, plain and simple. He gives up the run there in the second. That's on Cruz. In the third inning, Woodford starts off hitting McCormick. Altuve pops out. Bregman flies out. So like you're getting out of this inning, you got 2 outs. He hold on. Jordan is up with 2 outs in the third. Jordan pops it up to not even shallow left field. Like we're talking medium left field, like 100 feet outside the dirt. Now, Oneil Cruz is hustling for the ball. He's going for it. He's showing pretty incredible range, if you're being quite honest, for a shortstop. But he really doesn't have any business being there. Like that's a fly ball to the left fielder. And Oneil Cruz is running back. He pretty much gets in Brian Reynolds' way. Reynolds is calling for it. Cruz peels off at the very last second. The ball glances off of Reynolds. Error on Cruz, but then it doesn't even stop there. Cruz then picks up the ball, throws it home. Nowhere near Joey Bart. It goes to the backstop. Jordan moves to third. It was a mess of a play. The inning should have been over right then and there. It should be 4-1 Pirates. Instead, it's 4-2. And then the very next batter, Yanier Diaz, he doubles in Jordan Alvarez. All of a sudden, it's 4-3. 3 Astros runs, all because of Oneil Cruz. So,
yeah,
let's talk about this, because I do feel like Oneil Cruz has actual, like, outside, like, this has been a bad series for Oneil Cruz. He made 5 errors here in Houston, but up to this series, you felt a lot more comfortable about his defense lately. Like he was making the routine plays look more routine, but then he gets to this Houston series and Kevin Young on the broadcast was talking a lot about the infield not being good. And you saw, I mean, there were a lot of errors everywhere, right? I mean, Pena made an error. Singleton made an error. I think Altuve dropped the ball there. Like there's something messed up about this infield, but that's not an excuse for dropping. I mean, the fly ball had nothing to do with the infield. But again, you felt more comfortable about Cruz's defense. This was probably the worst defensive game he's had. On top of that, he also looked terrible at the plate. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Just probably the worst game I've seen him play, like plain and simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looked as scatterbrained as I think I've ever seen him look. Like just lost everywhere. And I appreciate the hustle on that play. The ability to get to that ball, not many people can do, but you have no business being out there. That's not your ball. I like you giving it chase, but at some point you got to use your brain, man. That's not yours. Use the ears. Listen for Reynolds. He's going to call you off. You know where your outfielder should be aligned. You should know he's able to get to that. Yeah. That's not your play. You got to be smarter.
Let me ask you this, because there's a lot of talk on Twitter. You know, if you're in the Discord during games, by the way, if you're not in the Discord during games, you should be. It's really fun. But lots of chatter about Shelton needs to bench Cruz. Shelton needs to bench Cruz. Bench Cruz. What are your thoughts on that?
So we were actually talking a little inside baseball here. We were talking during the game, but my immediate reaction was I'd probably bench Cruz. Due to it being more of a mental lapse and it wasn't being lazy or anything, I don't know that you bench him there. It's probably not what I would do, but I wouldn't have been mad if he would have benched him at that point. Now, maybe you give him Friday off, give him back-to-back days with the off day tomorrow, but I think he does probably need to sit down for a minute. I don't know about benching him in game. I do think you might want to just sit him down here.
So you would have kept him in the game, but you're not starting him Friday against a right-handed pitcher in a must-win game against Arizona? Is that that's my question to you? I mean, you got to win 2 out of 3 against Arizona.
Yeah, I know, and I have some time to think about it here.
All right, you too. Here's my thing. I think benching a player is a valuable thing to do in certain situations. I don't think you bench a player because he was trying too hard, which really, if we're being honest, like that play in left field, Cruz was he was doing more than he should have been doing, right? It wasn't his play to make, but he was running out there and he made a mistake. It was a mental error, right? Like the physical tools of Oneil Cruz actually allowed him to get out there, but he made a huge mental mistake that he shouldn't have made. He shouldn't have gone out there, right? I'm taking that situation to say, listen, you can't do that. I know you want to make a play, but that's not your play to make. His bat's too valuable to take out of the lineup just because he's trying too hard and does something stupid. If he would have now being lazy or lackadaisical or not performing, not giving it his all on the play, that's when I'm benching somebody. This is a situation where, yeah, I think you just take it as a learning opportunity. I mean, they showed Cruz afterwards. He clearly was upset.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is one thing that like people always bash like Cabrian Hayes because like he doesn't show any emotion. Like Oneil Cruz obviously was upset with himself tonight. Yeah. But I'm not benching him for the effort. I'm not benching him just for the mental mistake. If he would have maybe let that affect him in other ways and you saw that it was affecting his like physical play, then yeah, I'm benching him. But I didn't see that necessarily. So I'm just taking that as a learning experience for him. But again, like it doesn't make it any better. Like the Pirates lost today because of Oneil Cruz, plain and simple.
Yeah. And I guess to go back to possibly sitting him down on Friday, it's more of I just wonder if he needs a reset because he looked not good at the plate. And with all the issues we saw on the field, it's almost just giving him that mental reset there. Back-to-back off days. Just get back to basics here. And the reason, I'm iffy on everything is I wanted to see how the rest of the game would play out. You mentioned it being a learning experience. You want to see how he's going to bounce back in game from making mistakes like that, multiple of them. He bounced back in the field a little bit. He still made a few. I think it was the bottom of the 8th. He threw another ball in the dirt. It wasn't a good throw, but he did bounce back a little bit. He had a bad day at the plate. After seeing that, I might just want to give him a little break.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he did come back in the 5th inning. Like that play he made on Jose Altuve in the 5th. Yeah. Not many shortstops make that play. So like you see the skill set and you see like he's out there doing his best. He made a really bad mistake and it ultimately costed this team the game. So let's kind of keep moving through. I said Pirates bats fall silent. They go scoreless in the 4th. They go scoreless in the 5th. Valdez, after that 2nd inning, really settled in and kind of got into a groove. The Pirates really had nothing that they could do against Valdez from that 2nd inning on. Brings us to the 6th inning. Woodford, 5 innings. Yordan Alvarez was leading off the 6th, so it was a pretty good time to just say, all right, Jake Woodford, good job. You gave us 5 good innings. Time to give it over to the bullpen. I don't think you want Woodford facing Yordan Alvarez for a third time. So that gave us the opportunity to see newly acquired lefty reliever Jalen Beeks for the first time. I thought he looked pretty good. And all things considered, he gave up. He got Alvarez to ground out. He did give up a single to Diaz. The wild pitch ended up being really didn't end up mattering, I guess. And then he struck out Pena on some nice pitches as well. So he goes 2/3 of an inning, leaves a runner on second base for Mauricio Dubon, who came in to pinch hit for Singleton. And Derek Shelton, who has been pulling all the right strings for the last week or so. I feel like he's been coaching. He's been managing games really well. But today he brings in Colin Holderman, which in that situation, you're like, this is a must out. You bring in Holderman. I don't know about you, Tyler. I like the decision. I actually really liked the decision. That's way earlier than you normally see Holderman in a game, but it was a huge moment in this game. So, like, would you rather go Holderman? Would you like Nicholas would have been another option? I would have been cool with either because Nicholas has been so good lately. But you go with Holderman in that situation. I'm good with it. It just didn't work. It didn't work. He ends up throwing a pretty good pitch to Mauricio Dubon. It's a 97-mile-an-hour sinker up and in. Like, Dubon was just on it, and he crushed it. And that gave the Astros a 5-4 lead, which ultimately was the ball game. So talk to me about that decision. You for it? You with? You against it?
I'm in the same boat as you. I absolutely loved it. And I like the way that Derek Shelton's managed really over the past week. You could see the importance of the moment. And look, it's not about the results all the time when we're looking at managers. Was the process right? I think it was in this situation. You go to one of your best relievers. I know he hasn't been as consistent lately, but are you more comfortable with Colin Holderman in that spot or a Kyle Nicholas? I'm going to lean towards Holderman. I don't care how Nicholas has been pitching lately. I'm still going to go Holderman there. It just didn't work out. You said it. It was a good pitch. The only other thing to mention there is maybe you don't start him off with that pitch. And we talked about that a little bit earlier. It does go fastball on the first pitch to a pinch hitter. Probably do like to see a slider because he was sitting dead red fastball in that situation. That's the only way he's getting to that pitch.
Yeah. I think that's the big, if there's a mistake there, it's he shouldn't have thrown a fastball on the first pitch. Like you've got a pinch hitter coming up. He's looking fastball. He's on it. He's ready to do damage. And he gave him a fastball. If you throw a first pitch slider there low and away, that homer doesn't happen. Plain and simple. Doesn't happen. So that ended up being the ball game. But again, it was our first time seeing Jalen Beeks. What were your first impressions of Beeks?
Fastball has a good bit of life on it. You like the deception in the delivery. He looks like he's going to be an intriguing arm here. And I'm going back to the intriguing word that we love so much. It's a lefty that they need. I liked what I saw out of him. You probably want to see him get through those three batters a little cleaner. But just stuff-wise, I liked what I saw.
Yeah, I agree. The deception looked good. He, like I said, the delivery kind of cocks his arm in a way that hides the baseball behind his body. The fastball, like you mentioned, that seemed pretty lively. He was throwing it 95, 96. Yeah, I thought he looked good. I think that's just what this team needs. It needed another lefty to kind of pitch in these middle innings for a situation just like this. Like if you got Yordan Alvarez coming up for the third time, you don't want your starting pitcher necessarily pitching him a third time, but it's also really early in the game and you want to save Chapman for that seventh or eighth inning big moment. Like this is when you go Jalen Beeks. And his main job really was to just get Yordan Alvarez out and then face two more batters, right? And that's what he did. So I thought he looked good. I think it could end up being a pretty good acquisition for the Pirates. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing it because, plain and simple, he's better than like he was better than Josh Fleming. Like if before we acquired Beeks, the option there would have been Josh Fleming. Don't love that.
Yeah, I'll take Beeks in this situation.
Yeah.
If this is our hypothetical world, I'm taking Beeks every day.
Yeah.
It's not just our hypothetical world, it's our real world.
Yeah, so I mean he officially gives up a run, but it was the stranded runner that scored on the Holderman home run to Dubon. So Pirates are down 5-4. They go down 1-2-3 in the 7th. Hunter Stratton pitches a scoreless bottom of the 7th. In the 8th, the Pirates make a little bit of noise. And I want to talk about just some decisions that Shelton made here, because I don't think and don't clip this up, guys. Don't clip this up. But let's
I know what you're gonna say, and
let's recap this inning. So Presley comes in to pitch. Brian Reynolds reaches on an error. Rowdy Tellez grounds into a double play. Brian De La Cruz, new Pirate, singles. Joey Bart, singles. So you've got runners on first and second, now 2 outs. Ke'Bryan Hayes steps to the plate. First and second, 2 outs. Top of the 8th. Games, I mean, this is the game. Like this is your best chance to score, right? Probably for the rest of the game. Ke'Bryan Hayes. I want to show you some numbers here. Versus right-handed pitchers this year, Ke'Bryan Hayes is hitting .210. He's got an on-base percentage of .252. He's slugging .231. That's an OPS of .483 against right-handed pitchers. That's a 36 weighted runs created plus. In other words, Ke'Bryan Hayes, you might as well have a pitcher up there. I would rather have prime Kip Wells hitting in this situation than Ke'Bryan Hayes right now. You know what I would have done in that situation? I would have pinch hit Ji-Hwan Bae. I would have pinch hit Ji-Hwan Bae with runners on first and second with 2 outs in the 8th inning of a 1-run game. Because I don't want Hayes up there. He's proven it over and over again. He can't hit. Like he is dreadful against right-handed pitchers. Ji-Hwan Bae, that should have been his at bat. And who knows what would be happening right now if Ji-Hwan Bae was batting there instead of Ke'Bryan Hayes, who is worse than a pitcher when he's facing right-handed pitchers. Instead, Shelton lets him bat. He pinch runs Bae for Bart. And Hayes hits a 3-foot ball that goes right to the third baseman for out number 3. That's your ball game, folks.
Jim would rather hit Ji-Hwan Bae than Ke'Bryan Hayes. That is where we're at with Ke'Bryan Hayes at this point. I'm not completely on board with you here. I probably still let Hayes hit. Ji-Hwan Bae is literally a pitcher at the plate as well. I think it's more of an issue that your options are Ke'Bryan Hayes or Ji-Hwan Bae in that situation. Your roster's just not constructed very well, man. Like, those can't be your 2 options. You need a lefty bench bat. Rowdy Tellez was already used. He's really the only guy that they have to come up in that situation. Ji-Hwan Bae and Ke'Bryan Hayes being my options, I just don't like it. And
what about Yaz?
So he did cross my mind, to be honest with you. I probably would have rather had Grandal up than Bae. Again, I don't love any of these options. If I'm going to get nitpicky, my problem is that we hit Ke'Bryan Hayes so high in the order today. I understand you're facing a lefty, but I don't care who it is. I don't need Ke'Bryan Hayes hitting anywhere above 8th at this point. You could put 8 of me in the lineup, and I'll hit myself over him.
Baseball Worldwide brings up a good point here that I forgot this.
Yeah.
I was at this game. Ji-Hwan Bae has 1 at bat in his career against Ryan Presley, and it was a 3-run homer. I would have pinch hit Bae. I'm saying it again. I would have pinch hit G1 Bay for Key Brian Hayes in the 8th inning of a 1-run game.
Let's be honest here. G1 Bay probably would have tried to bunt.
That would have been better. I don't care. Like, again, Key Brian Hayes versus right-handed pitchers, 210, 252, 231, 36 weighted runs created plus, 483 OPS.
Oh, God.
483 OPS. Let's look up Kip Wells' career. Kip Wells' career OPS, 468. Kip Wells, it was a better hitter than Key Brian Hayes is right now against righties.
Dude, we're at the point where Brian Hayes is unplayable against right-handed pitching. He's unplayable. Like,
that's ridiculous.
You keep repeating the numbers and you can't play that. You can't. It's worse than Kip. I will take John Van Benscoten.
John Van Benscoten would be a clear-cut no-brainer. What are we talking about here?
I know.
We're talking about
the
NCAA home run batting champion that the Pirates pick 4th overall or whatever to make a pitcher. Oh, God. Now we're going off on a tangent. But, no, I mean, Zach says, where's Josh Van Meter when you need him? Seriously.
I would probably take that right now. Like, honestly, you mentioned, like, is Alika Williams even a worse option than Brian Hayes at that point? That's how bad he has been.
36 weighted runs created plus against right-handed pitching. And I love Key Brian Hayes. Lisa here says you shouldn't sugarcoat your feeling. I am a staunch Key Brian Hayes defender. Like, I think he provides more value than people see, right? And I think he's a lot better than what he's doing right now. But right now, he's bad. And he's bad, particularly against righties. I wouldn't have let him hit there. But yeah, moving on. Josh Hader pitches the 9th. Well, Kyle Nicholas pitches a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. He's been awesome lately. He just continues to be borderline unhittable. Really, like the only time you feel bad when Kyle Nicholas is pitching is when he's walking people.
Yeah, you call him unhittable, and he literally is unhittable. He will walk you or strike you out. But right now, he's doing a lot more striking out. He's been really good for a while, actually. Yeah. Like, I didn't think I'd say that about Kyle Nicholas because he's not the type that seems like he'll put it all together. He's always probably going to be inconsistent. But right now, he's on a streak where he looks really good. I still like going Holderman, but yeah. Nicholas again looked good tonight.
Yeah, Nicholas he's been outstanding. The Hader comes in the 9th, pitches a scoreless 9th. Pirates lose 5-4. This would have been a really cool sweep to have. I mean, at the end of the day, you win this series, so you have to feel good about leaving Houston winning 2 out of 3, right? And as long as you keep winning series going forward, you're going to be in good shape. But this was a winnable game. It's still going to hurt. It's a game they should have won. Like, Jake Woodford pitched his ass off, and the Pirates should have won today.
And you scored 4 runs on Valdez.
Yeah.
That's the type of game that really does hurt. And looking at the big picture, getting 2 out of 3 from the Astros is nice, but man, when dropping this one stings.
Yep. First impressions on Brian De La Cruz.
He takes some hacks. He does a really good job of balls up in the zone, so you can see where he's going to run into a decent bit of baseballs. He handles the pitch up well. He swings at a lot of pitches as well, but he's going to run into some.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I think he's again, I'm not like a huge fan of his. I think the Pirates could have gotten somebody better, but Brian De La Cruz is a big upgrade to what they were trotting out there in right field. He is a major league hitter. He can provide you power. 18 homers on the year. He's immediately, I think, tied with Reynolds for that in that number. So like him and Reynolds are now team leaders in home runs. Yeah, he definitely goes up there swinging, and he gets his cuts in. Like he swings hard. He's trying to damage the baseball, right? And so you saw that a few times. Hit the ball really hard. His first hit, that second hit that he had, 109.2. He had the hardest hit ball of the game today. So yeah, hit the ball hard. 2 for 4 in his Pirates debut. He will be coming home with the Pirates to play the Diamondbacks in a huge series this weekend. And then also, I would expect Isaiah Kiner Falefa was in Houston, just not activated, but I would expect him to be activated probably on Friday. So you're going to be going into Friday, Saturday, Sunday with a revamped Pirates roster, and this lineup that all of a sudden has some depth to it and a little bit of pop, and yeah, I think the Pirates are better today than they were yesterday. Like that's where we're at. So yeah, we'll see what they can do. Turn the page to August. Overall, it was a pretty good July. You got to be happy with how July went. They put themselves in a position to be buyers at the deadline. They are, after today, San Diego is beating the hell out of the Dodgers right now. So as of right now, the Pirates are 2.5 back. They will probably be, no, they'll be 2.5 back regardless. So they'll be 2.5 back of the Diamondbacks. So if you sweep the Diamondbacks, you can move right back into this thing. But a huge series coming up against Arizona, and the Pirates are going to be throwing their horses. You're going to have Ortiz, Keller, Skeens in the 3 games against the Diamondbacks. So on Friday, again, Brandon Pfaadt on the mound, who the Pirates got to, last week. He'll be facing Luis Ortiz, who's been lights out.
Awesome.
That's going to be on Friday. We'll have the post-game show, hopefully giving away sandwiches, but tomorrow, NS9 Live. Well, basically, I know we did the trade recap show, but we'll talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, we've had some time to think about it, and you'll get some probably calmer views.
Yeah, we got a couple sleeps in.
Yeah. So join us tomorrow.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us tonight and being part of the vent session.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate everybody in the comments, everybody who watched. If you're watching on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, if you're watching this after the fact, we appreciate you watching. If you're listening to the podcast form, appreciate you guys as well. Leave us a review if you've got time. But that's all we got. We'll be back tomorrow with NS9 Live. Like the video if you haven't. Subscribe to the page. All that good stuff. We'll see you later.
Cider Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.